Yeah, I'm taking physics right now, so there's a decent amount of drawing involved in that. When we gotta take notes and we have to like visualize like the problems that we're doing, like a car traveling down the road. We gotta like draw a car, and sometimes I kind of just like lose myself and I just start drawing little other things next to it too. I guess not just that too, but we've got like if you're talking about like a pulley system, it's really hard to like figure out how all that like works together. Because I just think like two pulley system, like that doesn't make any sense to me. But as soon as we draw it on the board, I get it in my notes and I get like all these everything around it, and everything starts to like make a lot more sense to me. And it like sticks out in my mind a little bit more, and it's something I could like replicate in real space as soon as I draw it. Like it just like I can remember it better that way, and it makes sense to me when I draw it.
Yes, I do. Just yesterday I was writing up labs for chemistry class, and I was drawing out little diagrams on my lab reports. It was just like showing what the apparatus looked like. Like I had to draw a bunch of like burettes and flasks and things like that.
In my chemistry book, in my notebook and stuff, I draw a lot because we have to draw a lot of different things for chemistry, like the apparatuses and just molecules and stuff like that. But then sometimes if I get bored, I just draw like people or flowers or... Yeah, I like drawing in there because it helps me visualize it better and it helps me understand it because I feel like I'm more hands-on.
I mean, being able to have good handwriting especially, that can help with getting a job, that you can be legible and actually be able to read what you're trying to put down. And drawing, even in like science or math, I still draw little bubbles or little stick figures to count stuff so I can see visually how much is there. And I use drawing and welding especially. We got very complicated welding symbols we have to draw out, and having previous drawing experience, although it's not necessarily a piece of artwork you're doing, it can help to be able to draw a straight line and be able to write legibly so other people can read it. It helps a lot to have that previous experience. So some of those symbols, they almost look like hieroglyphs almost. They're very complex at times. So being able to freehand a fairly straight line at the very least, and being able to freehand sharp curves and turns and make it actually look like it's supposed to be something can help. And they can get really complicated. There are ones that are based off of some hieroglyphs because that's what they mean, is something that hieroglyph meant. In physical science, we had to draw a lot of not just like the equations for the chemicals, but you'd have to draw out the atoms at points in time, like in biology. Even when you're drawing out atoms and cells, things get really in depth. And you can tell the difference between someone who's maybe never taken an art class and just kind of doing it because of schoolwork, between someone who genuinely enjoys drawing, and like they can look really cool even though it's just a homework assignment that you're doing. There was a kid in my biology class when I was a sophomore who said he spent 3 hours drawing a cell because it was something fun that he had to do. Like, he enjoyed it. He wanted to draw that, and he colored it in, and it was the best looking one that they had in the whole class, and our teacher was genuinely impressed. He's like, I can't believe you spent 3 hours drawing this that was only supposed to take 10 minutes. And it's a lot of fun to be able to draw something from your schoolwork or from a science field and put it into a visual environment, because a lot of things in there are just online. They're typed out, they're just an equation, and being able to get them into a visual can be a lot of fun. I feel like a lot of kids at least learn better when it's a visual and you can see what it is, not when it's just words. I feel like it's a lot easier to understand. Like it's called balancing equations, and you have to say if you got 6 of something on one side, you have to balance it with 6 of the same thing on the other side, and help putting just dots or triangles to represent how many there are. Every kid in my class will do that because you can visualize it and it helps you understand what is there instead of just having the number there to see it. It helps a lot to be able to visualize something instead of just hoping and praying that you're guessing it right.
Yeah, right now in biology we're doing a project and we have to draw like different shapes. So it just takes like I feel like it takes like a little art to make the shapes like how we want the shapes, because they have to be the perfect size and everything. We have to draw shapes. They have to be the same size like each time so it can come out perfect in the chart we have to make.
Geography, you can draw like the maps and stuff. You can take your time, you can draw US maps. If like you have to draw a molecule or something, then yeah, take your time on it, make it look like the actual thing. Don't just draw some circles.
Well, when I took biology and chemistry, we had to draw, like in biology, we'd have to draw the parts of the cell when we were learning about the cell. So that definitely helps that I'm at least able to draw. And in chemistry, just like making what are they called? The chemical bounds and stuff, that helped too. And in world history last year, we did a lot of drawing, like we did a lot of posters and stuff. Well, one assignment I remember is we would figure out like what cultural backgrounds we have, or like racial backgrounds, anything like that. And we made a poster of a country that our ancestors are from, or a culture that they're from, and we had to draw a bunch of stuff to represent that culture or community.
In biology last year, we were studying different like animals, and you're kind of graded on the way you can draw also. So like they don't want you just doing like stick figures or like in like history last year, like we had a choice. We could either write an essay or we could use our artistic ability to like draw a cartoon, and you were going to get graded on the way you could draw, and if you can't draw, then you would do the essay. And I picked the drawing, of course, because I like drawing, and I got a pretty good grade on it. So it was just like a political cartoon. So it was like, and you would tell a story through that cartoon. So biology. So we would do magnifying glasses over these like dead animals or whatever it may be, and then we'd have to take that and like draw what we saw. So and if like you were off, that's not really what you saw. You know what I mean? So we had to do what we saw. So I think like as a kid when we were drawing, I think like that kind of like put it in our brains, like just the simple things that you taught us how to do, like how to hold the pencil and how to like do the different lines and stuff. So I think I apply that now a lot too, yeah.
Well, I think with school, having that balance of something creative and something, a bit more logical, that helps it. It balances it out, and it's really relaxing. Like you can just sit down and draw and just kind of zone out, and I like that it's relaxing like that. And I think it definitely it helped in a way where I understood the importance of a pencil, and that kind of thing, and like writing and drawing and that kind of thing, just from drawing, and it's just kind of it's I don't think it's ever going to go away, it's always going to be something that people do. And yeah, because I know there's a lot of different incorporations with digital art. It's still, most of the time there's a screen and you have a pencil like wand or stylus, and you still draw, and it's still very much based with traditional art, and I don't think it's ever going to go away. Especially like I'm more comfortable with traditional art, like paper, pencil, paint, that kind of thing, but I've seen people do amazing work with digital, and I think it just depends on the person, It's well, without traditional, there wouldn't be a digital, that kind of thing. And from the programs that I've seen, it's very much still based in traditional art, even if it is, on a screen. And it's just there's a lot of shortcuts with digital art in a way, and most of it has to do with coloring or line work, and with that it makes it kind of it doesn't take as long, I guess, for the artist. And I understand that, just because some digital pieces are really like on a large scale for digital pieces. So when they, zoom in and they have to do little details, it's going to take them a while to get all of those little details in. And it comes from traditional art, it comes from paper and pencil, and, seeing something and then, that doesn't look right, erasing it and then trying it again and again until you get it, And it's just kind of, the how it's incorporated today with the younger artists, I think it's very interesting. Most of the drawing, it either has to do with like graphs or like that's chemistry. You have to draw the little chemical reactions or that kind of thing. And even though it's simple stuff, it's still, once you know like the basic principles of, you know, drawing certain things, it makes it easier when you do have to draw those things. I think just almost everyone has a creative side, and it just depends on how they, you know, use it, whether it's writing or drawing. But with drawing and how visual it is, I can see how it would affect that, yeah, as far as a learning process.
In art, I'm drawing this, we're doing a self-portrait, but with some kind of like non-real, or like something that reflects you. So I did a self-portrait. On the inside, I did an eye up here, which has a galaxy in it, and then behind, it's like the stars, and then a crown of all the planets.
You kind of do it in science when we're doing experiments, because sometimes you have to sketch. Like last year we had to do this DNA thing, and you had to make like a, I don't know what it's called, but there's like the X chromosomes and the Y chromosomes, and we had to make a thing like that. Or like you have to sketch what your work looks like when you build it in the lab.
What do you think?
I think science is like a big one because of like drawing like models and stuff, atoms or molecules. Well, I took art my freshman and sophomore year, and I think starting young like helped out a lot because some of the kids in my class like were like not as good and not as like experienced, and I felt really proud of myself. And then now my mom, she works at an elementary school, so I help her out if she has like projects, if like she wants me to draw stuff.
In chemistry, he has us draw like a lot of the molecules, like, so it's easier for me to be able to like shade and like to be able to show dimension when like I need to show the shape of the molecule, which like I know that a lot of people have trouble with. And like my teacher himself, he like shows us ways to do that without like having to, but I think it's easier doing it my way, which like showing which way it goes and all this stuff. Like we had a unit on just that, and it was really important, and I thought it was really easy because I knew how to do that. And also like geometry, I guess, like you had to be able to draw shapes, which was easy for me too because it's just something I know how to do.
When we have projects and stuff, I usually tend to lean towards the side where I can draw it out and show that project through a drawing. I'll lean towards more that way instead of having to write something out because I feel like that's where my strength lies in drawing instead of versus writing. Like I can't like verbally sometimes express like how I'm talking about something, so I usually tend to lean more towards like the projects where I can draw it out and you can like see what I'm thinking. And but sometimes like in class, like I'll draw something or like doodle in my notebooks, and a lot of the times I like when I'm learning something I can't like remember like words and stuff, but I can remember like pictures and remember like details of something, like even like directions with roads. I don't know the streets of roads, but I know like yes, there is a weird shaped pond there or like a weird shaped tree. Like it's stuff like that like I've taken my mom places and I'm like, yeah, I know we're going the right way because I remember that thing right there. And so like it's stuff like that helps me. Yeah, I remember like drawing like a couple posters, or like we had to like draw like an animal cell and a plant cell, so I remember doing that as well. Yeah, definitely when it comes to like using your artistic abilities like in a project or like in a classroom setting, especially like if you were to be in a group, like the group always leads towards you to like, oh, I know you can draw, so like you want to do that. But I believe that it really benefits me because it's an easier way for me to learn, and visually understand what's going on when I see like a picture, or I can draw it out like in biology when we were learning about the difference between a plant cell and an animal cell and what's in it and how everything works in it. We covered that. And then like in math, how we did the Fibonacci sequence and like looking at like different things in nature that has that, and drawing it on a poster board and stuff like that it's a lot more helpful, and like it clicks more with me when I do that.
I would say chemistry, yeah. Like with our lab experiments and stuff, we have to draw a diagram sometimes, like what it may look like. Like he doesn't let us take pictures, he makes us draw them out. So I think it's nice for that, to know what I'm doing when I'm drawing. I think we just got done with a lab actually. It was like about the different reactions with different elements and stuff like that. And we had to like draw a diagram of, it was this one experiment where we had to heat like this test tube of copper chloride or something. And we had to like draw all that stuff. We had to like draw the Bunsen burner flame going up the side of the tube and like all that kind of stuff. So it's very detailed, I think. And I think the more detailed it is, the more it helps you out, because he like knows what you're talking about. You don't have to use as many words if it looks better. So a lot of people will draw like a very basic diagram, but they'll have like so many words, and it's just like, but if you just, because what I do, I color all that kind of stuff, so I don't have to do as much explaining, because he's like, oh, okay, I know what this is.